Hey guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Mike.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and today we are going to do a review of Disgraced House from Shiny Pigeon Games. This was sent to us by our good friend Parker over there, and designer of Trash Dash. He did not design this. I'm not going to butcher this designer's name, but this is a trick-taking game without suits, which I have seen done before and did not enjoy. So I was really interested to see if this one could break the mold. So in Disgraced House, basically, the theme is that the Emperor has died, and we are all now vying for, prestige and, to rise to the top. And somebody, a lot of the times it was me, is going to be the Disgraced House. So in this trick-taking game, there's a couple of things that are going to make it unique. You have these cards here. They have basically a black side and a red side. What's really cool is the iconography. To play the red side of the card, most of the time, you need to spend a fate. And you can see in the background that little red circle, which also is a good way to tell you what piece you need. So those are those cards, right? You're going to have a hand of those cards based on where you are in the scoring. The person who either was determined to be the first player or who had become the Disgraced House in the previous round is going to be the leader. They are going to get the Emperor card, which gives them the option of a +1 or -1 to play when they are playing a trick. So they would just add it along. So you could make that 8 a 9 or a 7 if you wanted. You're also going to have advisor cards and ally cards. At the beginning of the round, you're also going to get dealt one of each of these. And then you need to decide in turn order if you are going to use your advisor. So you could put him face up, announce what he does, resolve it if it is something that happens at the very beginning of the round. And then, And then everybody goes around. If you don't use it, you discard them face down, you're going to gain a fate. And then similarly, you're going to need to decide with your ally card, am I keeping this dude to play during the game, during the round? It'll tell you basically when you can play it. Or, I don't think this is something I want to try to do. I'm going to also discard that face down, and I'm going to gain another fate. The other way you can gain fate, other than like something that a card might say, is that if you are behind by more than 3 points, you can gain a fate at the end of a round. But other than that, this is pretty much like a trick-taking game with a regular trick-taking game with like just a few exceptions. So normally in a trick-taking game, right, like depending on the game, maybe you need to lead with like a pair or straight, or maybe it's just a card of a particular suit. In this, you have two options. If you are leading, you can throw any one card down, and then all of the following players either need to match the highest card, meaning that then they are in the lead. So if I threw down a 7, Mike either needs to play a 7 or higher, and the cards go up to 10. If he doesn't do that, he has to throw his lowest card in his hand. And that is painful for reasons that will become clear in a little bit. So Mike either chooses to meet or exceed that number.
Oh, can't beat it.
So Mike is discarding the 1. So I know Mike doesn't have any cards lower than a 1 right now in his hand, at least on the black side. And then any other players would get the opportunity to go. If I win that, I take that trick. Here, the other thing you can do is you can play 2 cards. But if you do, and you're the leader, you have to have 2 matching cards. Mm-hmm. So I would play 2 4s, or I could pay 2 fate and make those 2 8s. Why don't we make it juicy? I'll play 2 8s. So now Mike either has to throw his 2 lowest cards or play 2 cards that either meet or exceed. The fun thing is Mike's cards don't have to match. They just have to be the same number or higher than either of those numbers.
Yep. So, for example, I've got a 7 and 10 here, which would not be legal, but if I spend the fate that I should have, I can make those 2 10s, and then I would be leading the trick.
And now he leads the trick. And then Mike would, in theory, win that, and then he's leading the next round. Yep. And then you go until you have 1 card left in your hand. If you are down to 2 cards, you cannot play that 2-card trick because you need 1 card at the end of the round for the peace treaty.
Peace treaty.
So the peace treaty is fun and tough and kind of, this is where you really start to white knuckle it. So the peace treaty, what you're going to do is everybody is trying to play the lowest card. Highest card becomes the Disgraced House and potentially misses out on some points. So based on the cards that I left myself in my hand and I don't have any fate tokens, I'm going to play my lowest card and just see what happens. So I'm playing a 5. That is my lowest card left because I planned poorly.
I will play this 0, which actually can be any odd, and I would make it a 5, and you'll see why.
No, you want to make it a 3.
3, and you'll see why.
Yeah. So Mike would make that a 3. Now, other players are going to go around, but let's assume that the 5 is the highest. So because it's the highest, I don't get any extra points. I will get 1 point for each trick that I scored. So let's say I just had those 2 tricks, right? So 2 points for me. Womp womp. Now, Mike, he played a 3. Which was smart because a 5 would have been bad. So Mike is going to score half of the number on the card he played, right? So a 3 rounded up, and they give you a little card here, right? So it tells you that 3 is going to be worth 2 points. Mm-hmm. So Mike would get 2 points, plus he's going to get 1 point for each trick he took. So let's say he took 2 tricks, 1, 2. Now he's up to 4.
Yep.
And that's basically how the game goes. Because I was the Disgraced House, I would start the next round with the Emperor card here, that +1 or -1. Mm-hmm. Also, that shows that I am the person that is going to lead first in the next round. You are going to shuffle all these envoy cards back into the deck. Everybody's going to get a new set. And because we are now in this area, the starting hand size will be 7, where before it was 8. And this dictates for everybody playing. The person farthest ahead, that tells you what everybody's hand size is going to be. That's basically the game. You're going to go till you get to the end. Tiebreakers are
13.
Like most fate left. And I thought there might have been one other thing, but I forget what it was. Anyways, that's basically the game. There are a couple of player aids, which will tell you what you on your turn can do if you're leading and what you can do if you're following. And then on the other side of that player aid, and they give you 2 of them, which is amazing, it tells you your peace treaty scoring, based how many points you're going to get based on the number, in case you don't want to do that math. And it also tells you the envoy deck distribution, so that there's 2 10s with a red 1, and it goes all the way down to what there is over here. So I mean, it's really cool how they break that down for you. So if you want to have that meta knowledge of like what's been played and what could be out there, you know, and it could be still hiding in the envoy deck, you know, and in other players' hands. You've got that. But yeah, that is a real quick and dirty on how you play Disgraced House. Mike, talk to me. Tell me what you think. You're a big card game guy. You're a big trick taker.
Yeah, and then of course everybody starts with a fate, but if you're 3 or more behind the leader, you generate an additional fate. These advisors and these allies have some really cool abilities on them. Like this tax collector, for example, instead of me spending fate, I get to spend somebody else's fate. Mm-hmm. Or this advisor, if I win the most tricks, I'm going to score 2 additional points, or +1 point if I tie. There was another one that was
the extortionist, where I can spend some. Oh wait, that is if you spend fate, you have to pay me that fate if I play that card on you. Right? Yeah.
There's a bunch of great abilities in these allies and the advisor cards, and they can kind of drastically change your strategy from round to round.
Yes.
I really enjoy this. I like trick-taking games quite a bit, and this one adds some wrinkles that I have not seen. So this is a very fresh and creative take on trick-taking. I mean, playing the 2 cards, leading with 2 cards is a lot more strategic than you think, because maybe you don't have a good hand. and you're not going to win a whole lot of tricks. Well, guess what? If you win the trick with 2 cards in it, the winner still only wins one trick. So they're only going to get 1 point.
Right.
So you might be forcing them to play their better, higher cards to only win 1 trick for 1 point, as opposed to playing those 2 different cards on separate tricks and getting 2 points out of them. When to use the Emperor is really interesting. And that peace treaty at the end and trying to save your lowest card or one of your lowest cards for that peace treaty so that you can get the additional points from there is so interesting, because if you can't beat a trick, you must play your lowest card.
Yes.
So you're playing your lowest card that's left over when you get to that peace treaty. So any opportunity you have to mitigate that peace treaty card, because I mean, a 4 is worth 2 points potentially at that peace treaty.
That could be a lot of points.
That is just so clever. And so I just found some of these strategies in here of when to play 2 cards, when to try and beat somebody's trick. Like, I don't want to dump my 2 10s into a 2-card trick.
No.
Those 2 10s can give me 2 tricks or 2 points later in the game.
Right.
And so that strategy that you find in here that I have not seen in other trick-taking games really shined for me. I thought this was fantastic.
And also, right, to build on that is with those 2 10s, what is the inverse of those, right? Are they, because potentially, right, you've got all these cards that have the potential for other use, and when do you spend the fate? So some really interesting decisions based on that, along with the timing of the regular cards. And unlike other trick takers, I don't care about this hand, I'm going to throw off. You really can't throw off, because when you're throwing off, you're throwing your lowest card.
A valuable peace treaty card.
Which can really mess you up. So you've got to be really judicious with how you do that. And I love trick-taking games, but it's really hard for a new one to sort of impress me, I guess, because I enjoy them. And so I can be a little skeptical, and I can come in a little arms crossed, especially with like a suitless trick-taking game. This one really was a breath of fresh air, a real pleasant surprise. Now, when we met Parker and we were talking to him, he's like, "Oh, you'll like it. You like it. You should try it. You should try my game."
He was right.
He was right. Yeah, he was absolutely right. I'll give him that. And I love being wrong when it comes to like, hey, you'll like that game. No, I won't. Like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Parker did do the art. And the graphic design, and they did a really good job there, and the player aids are amazing. It even reminds you at the start of the round, give fate to all players who are 3 or more points behind.
How about this holographic Emperor card? We'll make sure we get a close-up of that in our B-roll. That card is fantastic.
Yeah, that is a promo that he gave us.
Oh,
but it is.
We have a holographic promo.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I would say, reach out to Shiny Pigeon and be like, first of all, give me a Disgraced House, whatever. Take my dollars.
Then tell them Board Game Rundown sent you.
And they said to ask for this holographic promo. I don't know. They may tell you kick rocks, but I don't care. But yeah, really good. Really nice small box game. Very approachable. I was teaching some family members other card games around Easter, and this would have fit into that selection really well.
The first game we played, we were a little worried because I got off to a pretty big lead and the guys were not able to catch me, and we were wondering, does it have a runaway leader issue? However, in the second game, after we had already played once, I think we had a better idea of how to block Bob from running away with it, because he was up by 5 very early, and we were able to come back. Tim won, and I was just shortly behind.
Bob won by the tiebreaker. But
we were able to tie.
You were 2 points behind.
Nobody was able to catch up to me the first game, but I think there are, because this is more nuanced than other trick takers, there's different ways to approach this than there are other trick taking games like this.
And also, to this game's credit, right, it was so easy for us to re-rack and play again.
Yeah.
And even that second play was half the time, because we all understood the rules and everything. And it's not like that first play took a long time either, but it was this is really quick, really fast, and even if you were to ramp it up to a 5 or 6 player count, I still think it's going to go quick, because again, your hand size, even at most, your hand size is 8, And if people are throwing down those double tricks, I mean, that just burns through your hands so fast. So really, really, really fun. And I complimented the artwork. I will compliment it again. And you can tell, right? If you've seen Trash Dash, you can tell that the art is similar. And again, that's a compliment. But yeah, man, I really enjoyed this quite a bit. But I guess, Mike, we should rate this game. How do we do that at the Board Game Rundown?
We're going to score it between 0 and 10. We'll average our scores together, and we'll give you one score. That is the rundown score. That's what we put on BGG.
And what everybody wants to know, Mike, is this the first 0 you're going to give on the show?
Definitely not.
Okay.
I wanted to play again. This is a game I could see, like, if I find a group of people that enjoys trick-taking games, we could sit here and play this game for like an hour and a half.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just keep playing over and over and over. And just finding different ways to catch up to leaders, finding ways to win tricks when you've got a not great hand, finding ways to timely spin that fate to flip those cards over. Man, I like all the decisions in here. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it an 8. I think this is great.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I think I'm an 8.5. Again, the ease of play, ease of teach, how fast. If anybody had said after we had finished our second game, like in a row, like, oh, we should do one more, I would have 100% been like, yep. And it would not have taken that long to do. Like Mike said, this is also one, I would say, this is like your Lay's potato chip. You can't just have one. Yeah. Like, I think you play this, you're playing it 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
Again, because it plays fast and the style of game it is, this would be a great filler game, a great, hey, I'm waiting for another game to wrap up game. I can even see this at 2 players being pretty interesting with the dynamic of like how, when and how you play and the timing of those cards.
I do want to see this at more players.
But I'd love to see a 5 or 6 player game.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this to a convention we're going to soon, and we will definitely get a big group for this.
For sure.
And it'll be fun. It'll be a lot of fun.
So much like the peace treaty, we round our scores up, meaning the rundown score is 8.3.
There we go. And unlike the peace treaty, though, higher numbers are better. And this is a winner all the way around. Mike, do you have anything else you want to add on Disgraced House before we wrap up?
We also really enjoyed Trash Dash from Shiny Pigeon. That was on Kickstarter. That should be fulfilling later this year. So if this is interesting, support your indie publishers and check out Shiny Pigeon's other offerings. This was a blast.
Exactly what Mike said. Couldn't have done it better, so I won't. So awesome. Thank you guys for watching for the Board Game Rundown. I've been Tim.
I was Mike.
See you next time.